Good morning, beloveds. Oh, it's Friday. Today is my rest day, meaning I turn my alarm off. I only get up an hour later though. I think if I had my choice, my body would get up at 7:30 or it would get up with the sun. Because when we do the time change, then I can get up at 6:30, no problem. Apparently I don't like being up before the sun. I'll get up with the sun, but not before the sun. And I don't go and walk or ride or, do any of that. I literally take the day off from exercise. But what it has allowed me to do the last couple of Fridays, I felt better in the morning. And so I've gotten up and I've done a little house pickup, and so, and it's really, and it feels good. So I'm just like, okay. So I'm trying to make sure that I do a little bit more of that because, I don't have the time or the energy to just like clean. But, finding those moments like Friday morning where I have a little extra time in my schedule that isn't dedicated to, whatever it is that I do in the mornings, then it, hey, I got some stuff done today and I feel good about it. So it just kind of sets the day off on the right foot. But which is how I feel about doing, going for a bike ride. Or it sets the day off on the right foot. So, yeah, hopefully that somebody finds that helpful. All right. So it is January 13th. It is Friday the 13th. And I don't get all bound up in the Friday the 13th thing, because I know where it comes from in history. There was a king and a pope that conspired together, and it's one of the Louis of France, I think. My husband, who's the history major, would definitely be able to tell you that, because he loves all that stuff. Conspired together because they were afraid that the Knights Templar had grown, 1, too powerful, and 2, too rich, and they wanted the money. And so they sent letters out that were meant to be opened across the continent of Europe on Friday the 13th. Hence, that is a day that lives in infinite me. There's probably other reasons, but that's the main reason why everybody freaks out over Friday the 13th. And then they made the modern horror movies. So, yeah. So I don't give any, I don't give any energy at all to Friday the 13th. It's like, it was a greedy pope and a greedy king, and they did bad things. So it is Friday the 13th this year. It is January 13th. Treatment as a Science is our title. And this is a Craig Carter one, so there's 3 quotes. Thou will keep it in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because they trusteth in thee. Okay. Sometimes I should read the quote first. Thou shalt keep them in perfect peace, whose mind stayed on thee, because they trusteth in thee. Isaiah 26:3. The spirit within me is God. That spirit is perfect. That spirit is divine, whole, happy, complete. Science of Mind 558. Last quote, there is nothing more conscious, more definite, more deliberate than a scientific spiritual mind treatment. It is a specific set of the mind, and that is good for you, page 88. There is nothing mysterious or difficult about giving a spiritual mind treatment. Essentially, it is a matter of reversing our perception of the situation so that we look at the answer instead of the problem. To help us do this, we must use words to describe what we believe to be the spiritual truth. The ideas taught in the Science of Mind include accepting divine reality as the only ultimate truth. And so we declare that this truth is right where the problem is, and that it is a healing truth. We believe that when we recognize the truth and declare it in words, the law of mind is set into motion. We say that a treatment given is a law set into motion. A treatment given is a law set into motion. This creative law acts to bring about in the visible world the equivalent of the mental picture of what we have presented to it. The wording you use in doing spiritual mind treatment will depend on your individual vocabulary. And while definite statements are essential, the creative law will respond to your intent as well as the words you use. Thus, if you sincerely believe that there is no spiritual truth in disease, regardless of what words you use to express this belief, you have still given it an effective treatment. Spiritual mind treatment takes many forms, but essentially it is always the realization of truth in place of error. I believe in God, and I believe that God's power can heal. This power is working on my body right now, and no illness can withstand it. Every cell of my body is now responding to my healing words. God is my life, and I cannot be sick. The power of the living spirit is moving within me, and it replaces any negative condition with new and healthy cells. My healing is established as I recognize and affirm the perfect healing action now taking place in my body. I have no fear because I know that this healing takes place now. Craig Carter, CC. Okay. I'm going to go back to that sentence. What we say that a treatment given is a law set in motion. So he said a couple of things that are really important. One, vocabulary isn't the big deal. It isn't a big deal. But saying that, you want to use words that evoke feeling in you. I have watched two people do two completely different treatments for the same thing. And when they do that, each person uses words that mean something to them. So they might use completely different words. And that's okay. Because what Reverend Jesse will tell you is that treatment is thought wrapped in feeling. Okay. So the words that you use should evoke feelings in you. So when you are doing a treatment, any of the steps need to be words that mean something to you, that evoke a feeling in you, that evoke an image in you, because that is your end goal. To have the thought wrapped in the feeling and then the logos, that is what you want. That is what you want. And so by using words that mean something to you, even when you're treating for another person, although what I would suggest when you are treating for another person, if you are doing it in person with that person out loud, not that Ernest always did, because sometimes he would do silent treatments for people sitting in front of him. What you want to do is make sure that you incorporate the words that mean something to them as well. That's part of reflective listening. That means that they know that you heard them. So you incorporate their words into your treatment. Sometimes when we do prac sessions, that's exactly what will happen is like we reflect back to them by saying, okay, this is what I've heard you say. And you want to use the words that evoke feeling in you and them. So, but you don't get caught up in the words. Don't worry too much about the words, because as long as the intent or the feeling is behind those words, then your treatment is going to be effective. So don't, write them out if you want, and then read them out loud, or read them silently, but use words that mean something to you. He talks about seeing the truth, the ultimate reality behind the condition. And that's the power of science of mind, the power of treatment, is that we look a condition in its face. It's like we never deny that there is a condition that is happening right here, right now in this material world. We don't deny that. We go, okay, no, this is happening, but this isn't the truth of me. The truth of me is whole, happy, complete, is healthy, is whatever it is that we're working on. That is the truth of me. And so by using words and wrapping feeling around them that evoke that, then the law goes, oh, okay, and sets in motion whatever it is that needs to happen to bring you whatever it is that you are treating for. I work in a health food store. That's what I do Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. That's my mortgage paying job. And I see that as an extremely important part of, my, whatever word it was that just popped right out of my head. It's part of my ministry. We'll use that. Because I understand that this body is a material body, and it is the vehicle that carries my soul around. And so it's like when my car needs its oil changed, I go and take it and have the oil changed. Same with the body. The ultimate spiritual truth of me is that my soul or spirit, whichever word you want to use, is whole, happy, healthy, and complete. But this body requires maintenance. And part of that maintenance is treatment and evoking words. And part of that treatment is just, the regular care and feeding of the body. So you want to do both. You want to do regular care of the spirit. You want to do regular care of the and feeding of the mind. And treatment absolutely is regular care and feeding of the soul. And the words matter less. So don't get caught up on the words. I think that's my ultimate lesson here, or message here. Don't get caught up in the words you use. You want to get caught up in the feeling that you use, but not the words. So if you want to use 50-cent words, or you want to use $50 words, then do what makes you feel. Notice how I stopped there. Not words that make you feel better, words that make you feel. All right? If you're like me and I like to read, I will absolutely use a $50 word where a 50-cent word would have been sufficient. But spirit, the law, reads intention as well. It's looking for that feeling. So when you do that treatment, you want to paint that picture in your mind. Draw that picture in your mind, whatever, of what it is that you are seeking. And use all of the colors. Use all of the colors. Make it as realistic in your mind as possible. And then spirit goes, okay, this is it. Now, I say use all of the colors. Don't get too specific, though. It's like, paint up the guidelines, use all of the colors, use all of the feelings, but don't get too specific. What it is if you're looking for a specific car, then okay, make, model, and color. Don't give spirit a VIN number, if you know what I mean. Same thing with the house. Get pretty specific about what it is that you want in the house, but don't give spirit an address. All right, you gotta leave room for spirit to have the play to bring you more than you expected. All right. So, that is the science of treatment, is to use words that evoke feelings, that describe to you and the source of your own being what it is that is the truth of you. And if you're not sure what the truth of you is, then you have a couple of options. Yeah, you actually have several options, but one of them being meditation. Because meditation is where we take the opportunity to listen to spirit. And there are wonderful, beautiful guided meditations out there. I highly suggest, especially if meditation is hard for you, try guided meditations. They're all over YouTube. And then, there's also working with someone, be that a practitioner or a therapist, or just a really good friend. Sometimes sitting down and talking to a really good friend about whatever it is that's going on in your life, because they'll see things that you don't. Then when you go back and do your treatment, you have something else that you can incorporate. Somebody who loves you has said, hey, I've noticed. So, I put that on because I wanted to put it on because, Craig Carter's, he's just packed full, and I know I don't do, I only touch like a couple of points in all of his stuff, and I just wanted to make sure. Okay, to help us do this, we use words to describe what we believe to be the spiritual truth. The ideas taught in Science of Mind include accepting divine reality as the only ultimate truth, and so we declare that this truth is right where the problem is, and that it is a healing truth. Where was that line? This creative law acts to bring about in the visible world the equivalent of the mental picture we have presented to it. Okay? Let me read that again. This creative law acts to bring about in the visible world the equivalent of the mental picture we have presented it to. So that's what I'm talking about. Paint a picture with your words. That is the body, the recognition part of treatment. Paint the picture with your words and use all of the words that mean something to you. Okay. I think I'm going to set this one down here because there's so much in there. I do encourage you, go back, reread it, or re-listen to me read it. And because there's so much in it. There's so much in it. And I will suggest to you that last line that I read, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is exactly that. To present the picture of what we want in as much color. I don't want to use detail. I want to use color and feeling to spirit as possible when we do our treatments. Use all of the words, any of the words that evoke the feeling and paint the picture of the truth that you are willing to accept. And notice how I said willing to accept? Because that's part of it. Sometimes our mental equivalent isn't the whole truth. Okay? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the truth of us is big. Actually, most of the time, the truth of us is bigger than we are willing to accept. And so paint the picture with what you're willing to accept. And the next time, paint it a little bit bigger. Okay? That's the mission today. Should we choose to accept it? The other one is what I always suggest. It is a spiritual practice to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. It can be one thing, it can be three things, it can be a whole multitude of things. But the point is to practice on yourself every day so that you are creating that default setting so that no matter what happens, you can have a loving, kind, compassionate response. And if you're caught off guard, you can have a loving, kind, compassionate reaction. All right? The more you practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself, on your environment, on the people around you, the more likely the more you create that groove, the more you create that connection to the infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion. And so then no matter what happens, you can have that loving, kind, and compassionate response. And it looks like taking a deep breath before you speak. It looks like taking a nap. I'm a big believer in turning it off, turning it back on. That works on you too. So, it looks like taking a walk. It looks like spending a little time in nature. Where we live, the birds, I think we're, just right now, there's a lot of different bird songs. And there was something, soul fulfilling about listening to all the different bird songs yesterday. So that's what I'm talking about. Love, kindness, compassion. It also looks like eating dessert first. I talk about this because one, it is definitely about self-care. I'm a big believer in self-care. They pounded that into us in ministerial school. You want to do this kind of work, you have to take care of yourself first. It is absolutely like sitting on the airplane and having the oxygen masks drop. You put your oxygen mask on first, then you help your neighbor. So self-care, but it's also about joy. It's about making room for joy no matter what is going on in the world around you. No matter what is going on in your world, you deserve joy. You deserve love. You deserve kindness. You deserve compassion. Make room for it. practice on yourself. You are your own best test subject. That is immediate feedback. Okay? But like I said, I'm encouraging you to create a habit. So, all right. In that process, I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. I encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Your brain works better. I encourage you to get early in your day bright light. I did not go outside, but the part of my house faces fairly east. So even if I don't leave and go for a walk, I can still sit in my house and get bright light. And my cat right now has a really good sun patch across him. So, they seek out the light. We should too, right? And I do encourage you to do it in the words of Ernest Holmes, because it literally is a quote from him, from one of the books that I've done previously. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. When we learn that heaven is a state of mind, a state of consciousness, then any place can become heaven. It's a superpower. It is a superpower. When any place can become heaven because of your state of mind, your state of consciousness, you got a world that works for you. And when you've got a world that works for you, then you are that much closer to a world that works for everybody. Really, honestly, that's how we get a world that works for everybody. We teach, and sometimes only by example, how to find heaven because it's a state of mind. What do you know that I don't know? What do you know that I don't know? All I know where heaven is. And when I can walk through this world in that heavenly state of mind, 24/7. Ugh. Is it possible? I don't know. But I hope and I have faith that it is. And when I can do that, anybody can do that. That's what I believe about my ministry. That's one of the reasons why I go by the Running Rev Ryan. It's because, look, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I believe that. And I believe that about the heavenly mindset. Opening the windows of our soul. It does mean to open ourselves up and be vulnerable. So, but it means a lot of other things too. So, yeah. All right. And in the words of, and you can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. All right. I just distracted myself. So, here's the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I am the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Please feel free to check them out. I'm very proud of the YouTube channels. I work very hard on the Creative Life to keep those playlists moving so that you can find what it is that you are seeking. All right. Yep. That's what I know. And if you want to know what's going on with the center, please email info@creativelife.org. That will put you on the constant contact. That way you'll know what's going on, especially when I don't, because it happens. I do read the emails. Do I always retain them? No, because I can refer to them again. And the hot links in that constant contact are hot. It says click here. It will either take you right to the information you want, right to the YouTube channel that you want, or it'll take you to the person that'll help you get the information. So please email that. Get on that constant contact. There's a lot of good stuff in it. And then I'm going to move from that to, oh yes, here's where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, an enchanting day, a wonder-filled day, a Friday, if that's what day it is when you're watching it. And if not, still have a Friday. You can have a Friday any day. I like Fridays because it means on Saturdays I get to go to the park. So yay for getting to go to the park day. An enthusiastic day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a godling in whom God is well pleased and well represented. That is the truth of you. That is the ultimate reality with the big R. That is who you are. All right. I say it every day because I want to believe it. And I know it about you as well. All right, beloveds. Okay. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I should be back with you around 9 a.m. I get to go to the park tomorrow, but it's cold, so we'll see how long I last. As long as the peanuts and the squirrels do. So I'll be back around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.